Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me? Wow. Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the chat. Panda Lonely. How's it going, my friend? You now are a moderator of this channel. Welcome. Welcome to another Wing live stream. Can you guys hear the background music? Because I think that broke during the reset. Really tired, guys. But hold on. I don't have any background music. I need to fix that or I'm going to go crazy. Only hearing my voice in my head. I'll be back in a few seconds. Hold on. Don't move. Don't move. I'll be back. Well, that's really strange. No background music for some reason. Let me try something. If I have the camera, at least I can give you guys a show. Today's just going to be a quiet one. Oh no. Ladies and gentlemen, first, welcome to what apparently was a bugged wing. Started everything as usual, load my scene as usual, no sound to main out. That was weird. You guys saw that the sound was not going through the whole signal chain for some reason. You guys have background music? Okay, I just don't. Which is fine, I guess. If you guys have it, I'm good with that. It's good to have you. So, you guys are here early today. Usually, I just talk for 10 minutes and got no one in the chat. But it's so good to have you ask your question about the wing. Let me see if I missed something in the chat other than Hedman, who was a member of the channel. Thank you very much, Hedman, for being here as usual, even if you missed last week, and I will remember that for a long time. Nick, hi Nick, welcome. Yeah, background music was working at least. Pendulonely, who became a member, actually because he's one of my real life friends. That's gonna cost me a lot of beer. Actually, I will have to bring him that amount that he paid to be a super member of beer every month, just so I can pay him back. It's gonna cost you, man. I'm sorry, or it's gonna cost me. Anyhow. Thank you. Appreciate it. Chris Greco, dude, what's up? Good to have you around, Chris. I missed you last week. A lot of new faces last week. A lot of new faces like Jonathan Wing. Jonathan Hill. Hold on. I'm really tired. Let's just put it out that way. I sound tired. I hear my voice sound tired. Jonathan Hill, Wing has been freezing on touchscreen. Setting up some channel. Oh, have you done a hardware check, Jordan? Make sure that you do a hardware test. I have a video that explains how to test a console, all the hardware apart. Do a test. If it's not give you any answer on why, like if you have a broken screen or something, open up a ticket with Behringer. Your Wing is probably still under warranty, even if you bought it a long time ago and you register it 3 year. The console's not 3 years old, or some of them start to be 3 years old now. But you should be... Actually, no, I'm totally wrong. It's been 2 years. Man, COVID, do not help me with timelines. This is a conversation that I had yesterday with some friend. Because if I sound like this, it's also because yesterday I went out to see a show, a live show, a full-on arena live with a local band, and some friend of mine played in that band called No Bro at the Bell Place yesterday. Not the Bell Center in Montreal, the Bell Place in the suburb. We had No Bro, we had Rise Against, and Billy Talent. This is why I screamed my life out yesterday, and I sound like garbage. Or Cookie Monster, should I say. But yeah, to be back on Jordan stuff, Jordan, open up a ticket. It's all brand new and firmware is updated. Just keep messing with it until it responds. Get it fixed right away. Open up a ticket, get it fixed. You gonna like it on the long term. Eliezer, I hope this is how you pronounce it. Eliezer, first time here. Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome. If you have any question about the console or live sound, this is what we are here to talk about. Welcome to the chat. Appreciate that you are here and you join us today. Headman, you got the notification this week. Okay, good. This is a good thing because last week I don't know if you missed it or you didn't get it. I want to know the answer to this one. If you didn't get it, it's different. Rolf, what's up? Missed you last week. You missed a couple shows, probably busy too. So please let me know how you're doing. I want to know. It's good to have you around. I want to know about that. Pedal Only, if I knew that you wanted to come to that show, I would have give you a ticket because some of our friend got sick. It could not get there. This is how I actually end up getting into that show. Because to do a long story short, I did a filming for the last 5 days. I was on a TV-ish set where we recorded some live performance. And yesterday I was doing on the same setup a more acoustic session with all the artists that played with the band. Okay, let me bring you back. I had a full band setup. 40 channel of the Wing were used. All that mixed down with the console to TV. Had a good time. And we just yesterday we just took the band out and recorded some acoustic performance of the same performer. They came back. We had a good time. And yeah, I did 7 performance yesterday. After that, I had to wrap the whole thing. So all my DL251 with the cable, the wing, the snake, everything. Which also, I need some recommendation. I need to find, if anybody in the chat got any lead for me for good quality Cat 5e stranded shielded cable, usually used for patch cable in the server world. I need to build myself actually 2 snake, a 250 feet one, which is almost 80 meters, almost the maximum. I need to build that, and I also need to build a smaller one. And when I say building a snake is I want to run a power cable along 2 lines of RJ45 cable, all bundle up together ready to run for shows. So if anybody got a hint for me on what I could use to do that, let me know. I would really appreciate a lead or a eBay link or something, because those cable are so hard to find for some reason. I don't know why. Braided cable. Man. Anyhow. Question from Herman. Why power? Because most of the time in festival situation, you will have power, but I run small show more often than festival, and I would need to bring power anyhow. So if I bundle up my snake with the power, I can have everything plugged together into my Furman on stage. And from there, I know I will get clean power, or at least I will share the same path to ground, which can help me to avoid humming and buzzing in between the console. And that will also help me with grounding of the console. Even if the cable are shielded, everything will be to the same path to ground. It should help me to avoid more grounding power issue with sound. This is why usually we run in festival. Actually, the festival usually plug everything to the same place, into a power distribution. But when I don't have the luxury to have that, just getting a single plug on the wall, because I don't draw more power than that, will avoid to have all those problems. Even with digital console and stage rack, you get humming from different ground. Yes, you can. It doesn't always happen like that, but if, let's say you have a really bad ground on one end, or it's on two different distribution or two different panel in the same building, you can get grounding problem. Same with light and DMX grounding. I know those of you who don't know, my friend Penaloni is a light designer who's touring with a lot of, who's doing a lot of arena event. And yeah, he's probably running more digital nowadays. But back in the analog day, kiddo, we used to run DMX and run analog cable, and having grounding issue that make your lights just don't listen to the signal. It basically corrupt the signal. And I'm allowed to call him kiddo because he's 9 years younger than me. Why not use Cat 6? Because I'm gonna get into that debate. Cat 6, as good of a cable it is for network, Ethernet network stuff. When you talk about AES-50, the protocol was designed back in the day of Cat 5, not even Cat 5e. The fact that Cat 6, newer protocol, newer cable, has a tighter twist inside the cable. If you ever took apart a Cat 5 or RJ45 cable, they have different kind of twists inside the cable that help to send some signal further. And the resistance in the cable also differ from one type of cable to another. And the twist also impact the resistance of the cable. Cat 6 is known to cause issue with AES-50. Some people get away with it, but some lesser quality of Cat 6 that is untested, or even if it's said it's tested, when you test it yourself with a full range spectrum or up to spec, most of the cable do not respect the spec. They just don't work as advertised, even if it says tested on it. I had a conversation with that a couple months ago with somebody that I will keep his name anonymous here, but he basically told me that even if he tests some cable that were supposed to be good, Cat 6, Cat 5, Cat 7, most of the Cat 6 do not meet the requirement for AES-50. Most of the Cat 5 do. So it's a safe bet. But even myself, I can buy some. I can buy some shielded Cat 5 and a spool and cut it in half, and one half is going to have a flaw into it, and it's not going to conduct the signal back and forth. So to avoid problem, I put the chance on my side having Cat 5e, but it could not work depending on if, one of the wire inside have corrupted copper, because, the tolerance are kind of wild when it comes to mass production of Cat 5, as I heard. I'm no Cat 5 expert, but this is what I basically took back out of the conversation that I had with that gentleman a couple months ago. So this is why I'm looking for the best quality Cat 5e, and I'm going to test them. If they pass, they work just fine. If for some reason one cable doesn't work after 250 feet, I may have to cut it down to 100 feet. Maybe I will take that bad part of the cable out, or just the overall resistance in the cable, the impedance of the cable will be good. So who knows? But we'll take a look at that in the future if I can put my hand on a spool of 1,000 feet of cable. Back in the day when we didn't have color, yes, we used to change. Back in the day when we had to use dimmer and gels on lights before color wheel and LED RGB stuff. Basically, when you were still using diapers. Getting crowd mic installed this week. I'm currently using a Matrix for streaming. Are the Matrix direct input on the wing stereo? Really interesting question. Here, we're going to dive into that. I actually never tried that, but it sounds like a wonderful idea for you to use Matrix to do that. Let's take a look. I'm not a huge user of Matrixes, but okay, let's see what's going on here. Hold on, moving my iPad out of the way. Can I? Oh, direct input is only for a channel, not a preamp. You guys understand the difference between that? This is like, yeah. Okay. What you will have to do is to create a... Actually, we're going to try something. I want to know if the matrix or the direct input are stereo or mono. Can I create a stereo input of something? Okay. Just for fun. I'm going to come here and take a look. Actually, my acoustic guitar here is a stereo input. So I'm going to try to add my stereo input acoustic guitar here. I'm going to go close. And you have a phase reverse and a send to the matrix. Direct one on. I'm pretty sure this is going to work. Really clever way to add microphone or crowd microphone to your live stream. Interesting. I like that. I'm going to put that in my bag of tricks. Thank you very much. Makes a lot of sense. You just take your matrix. Actually, you could have two. You could have that, and you can have your MC or a voice off for your stream, and you just send that into your matrices. And I'm pretty sure it's going to work in stereo, and the tab can be pre or post. Probably go pre, because you want to set the crowd level for that. But yeah, really good one. Really, really good one here. Hold on, just need to put everything into concentration mode. I love Apple for that. click concentration mode on one unit and all my device just turn to concentration mode. My phone's not gonna ring anything. I love the Apple ecosystem. And I just say that because my friend Panda Lonely is so much a Windows user, and he's so pissed usually when I say that I just say that because I like him. Bro love. Right there. Jordan Hill, send a 7,000 feet spool of Cat 5 link to you. Miss on what you were looking for. I'm looking for shielded, not single core. I think it's strained, the term, or braided or strained cable Cat 5e shielded FTP, ST, whatever. Roll in, if possible, in black of 1,000 feet. That would be awesome. Rolf, maybe Dave Rat can help you with a decent cable. Maybe. I actually don't have any way to talk to Dave or other than the public one. Just call Rat Sound and ask for some help over there. Maybe that's a good option, but my guess, nothing against Dave, he's there to do good business, but my guess is I'm going to pay extra for that role, and I can probably build it myself. So if I can get myself a decent role, a role just for a cost price, I would do it because I'm really good to build it. That's not the problem. But yeah, maybe it's an option. Maybe I can contact Rad Sound and ask them where do they take their cable if I don't want to buy a pre-built one, or maybe other option, or just buy it from them and get done with it. What else? That man didn't know about the DirectIn. Yeah, really interesting. Makes a lot of sense to have that there. Once again, I'm so amazed by the wing. The option that we have on the console for that price point are amazing. This is next level feature of a console. Chris, when you insert a delay in a bus as an effect, do you use pre-insert or insert pre or post? I'm always using post because the way I work when I'm using effect, reverb, delay, I'm using a mute group to mute the input of the effect unit. When I want to do a delay shot of, repeat, I just unmute the group, and once the part that I wanted to grab and send into delay is done being performed on stage, I just mute it back. That way my delay tail out, it just tail out and it doesn't cut if I were to use a pre-insert. I don't know if it makes sense, but this is this is the way I build my effects, and that way I can just, same for reverb, I mute the input of the effect, that way it just fade out, do its thing, and nothing comes back into it. Now all other consoles look like toys compared to Wing. Yeah, pretty much. No, let's be honest. All the companies made some good stuff. Depending on your budget, I would say the Wing sometimes is going to check more stuff on your list for the same price. Some people won't buy it because it says Behringer on it. They're lost, I guess. Or because they had, bad story about the touchscreen. Okay, you don't want to take the chance. I get it. Some people won't, some people will. I think everybody in the chat here will. I think we're all happy so far. I don't know if anybody who had a bad touchscreen that did not get fixed by the company so far. We'll see what happened with that. Another one from Herman here. Do you use the user button in knobs when you're live? Actually, I did on a show that I did 2 weeks ago. I never done that before. I've set my delay control on the custom control, and I set my feedback time of my delay and my reverb time on knobs. And during the show, I was playing around depending on the mood of the song, with the length of the reverb, the delay, and the delay feedback. If I just want to have a slap or a really long, like whap, whap, whap delay. It allowed me to have more control over my effect. And that show, especially that one, I'm really involved into it. I'm part of the band. I'm mixing. That's the one of my friend Simon where I mix all the backtrack. I'm building the band from stems from the computer, building that, adding that to the live band, and I'm as involved in the show as any other musician. So my way to express myself and to perform with the band is to play around with the delay, and I try to bring a vibe, a mood to that show. That's my job on this one. I'm not just mixing input. I'm creating a vibe. That's my job. It's my goal. This is what I'm trying to do on this one. Good luck trying that, Chris. I'm pretty sure you're gonna be happy with it. Give that a try. Oh, I feel sore. I didn't speak much today. I wake up early, even if I just look and feel like I just woke up. It's 2 o'clock, 2:08 here. 2:08. Woke up at 9. Bring back all the gear from the session, and just felt hurt by the show of yesterday. It was actually, my ears are still ringing. I took a beating for the fun of it, to be in a crowd, a arena with 10,000 people to a good show, rock and roll show. The only complaint that I have, and I don't know who to blame for that. I don't know if anybody here is a rock and roll fan and saw the band Rise Against live, but to me, it was a major case of lead bass drum, and I'm so over this. As a sound engineer, I was into that phase at some point where I said, I need to have a huge kick that is melting your face down, beater and physically. But yesterday, where I was sitting, I don't know where the console was. I was really far from it. I was actually on the second balcony on stage right. Like, I was in the last box of the liner right there. But the kick drum for Rise Against had so much attack, so much 4K, it was overpowering everything. The guitar, the vocal, and only the attack part of the bass drum. Not the low end, just the clickiness. It was like getting a hammer in the face every time. That was a hard one. So I will use this as a reminder. You are a sound engineer. Be aware of your positioning versus what other people hear, and be careful where your high frequencies are going versus your mid and your lows. Sometimes sound engineer are right in front of the PA in a big sub alley, and when you move out of that alley where most of the people are, because not most of them hearing the PA like you, it can get really thin really fast. And mixing really bright in those conditions can make people having a bad time if they are not sitting in the sub alley in the middle of the crowd. I need to buy another console for our rehearsal room. It must be easy to use for a musician, but powerful enough for small gig, 100 people with a sound guy. Any recommendation under $1,000? XR18, like Rolf said. If the XR18 is too complex, too over the top, go analog. It's so user friendly. You know, in 2022 we are at the limit of where console cannot be used by anyone anymore. When you got something like a Wing, if somebody never did sound, you cannot just plug something into it, raise the fader, and it's gonna work. Well, actually, that will work for the first 8 input. After that, there's no input in the back. You need to patch it. It's back in the analog day, you plug your iPod into a stereo channel, raise the fader, it makes sound, it make noise. People were happy. You could have that set up in the bar. Tell the waitress, once you're done at the end of the night, just turn that down and leave, and it will be fine. Nowadays, you can still do that, but the next morning, if you turn down the console and like I just happened, it didn't recall the sound was not going to the main out for some reason that I don't know. You need a sound engineer. You need somebody who knows his stuff to be there and to operate these things. So yeah, analog, you can get pretty much a really decent one for under $1,000. Maybe get some old rack gear to go with it. Couple insert rack, those old DBX 266 compressor. You can get a lot of gear for $1,000 on the analog gear market nowadays. But yeah, for something really simple, really, really easy to use, analog is still the way to go. If you want something that you can play around with, you want a toy, you need to go digital, and digital mean complexity. Any tips to make reverb sound okay, you want subtle in a live setting. I've got a complaint where we use sound in when using the setting, and it's too much. Okay, there's two things happening. I don't know what is your PA, and I don't know what kind of room you're in. If your PA, let me rephrase that. Some PA have a weird threshold where you put some reverb in, you got nothing, and you go 1 dB higher, and it's too much. And you put it 1 dB back, and you go like, I can still hear something, but doesn't work. Some PA are not helping you. Some PA do not reproduce sound that well. If that's your case, you're slave. You're limited by the PA that you have. Other than that, I would say go with shorter in length reverb. Like, actually, I was amazed by the reverb this week. I had a chance to work with the reverb, the plate reverb. I used that on my vocal. Something that look roughly like this, pre-delay. Usually I keep my pre-delay really low because pre-delay is going to let your vocal go through and then holding on in the sense of time to your reverb and let it go. Having a really sharp pre-delay will sound like you speak into... If you use a small reverb, it's going to sound like you are in a bathroom. If you use a big reverb, it's going to sound like you're in a hall, but the sound will take time to go the wall or your surrounding and come back. So pre-delay help you set that up. How far, your physical room, because this is what reverb do. They replicate the sound of a room, reflecting sound at you. So your pre-delay will be a big factor here. After that, the size will be like the size of your room. Decay will be how long the sound will fakely bounce around. And the damping is the loss in energy of the I frequencies. Bass multiplier will just basically be a bump in the low end. And after that, the other point that you can see is the crossover. So this is, can you see it? No, you can't because of my square face here. You have another thing here called the crossover. This is basically for the bass EQ that you have on that reverb. But play around with reverb and find something that works for you in your room. Pre-delay, size, and decay. Decay is how long the reverb is, and play around with that. Usually 1.5 to 2 second is the sweet spot. Pre-delay, depending on what the result that you want to have, between 0 and 40, 50. After that, it's going to sound like a repeat delay, pretty much. If you go to 100, this is a trick that I know Chris Alge did on the Green Day American Idiot album. He set his pre-delay to be around 150 to 175 millisecond. This is, I know it in feet. This is like 100 feet or 30 meters away. So you have the dry vocal coming out, and after that, like if you had a speaker 120 feet away with only reverb into it, you have that coming back. So it sounds like dry voice, and after that you have a reverb that repeat almost what the performer just said and slowly decay down. That's an approach. I'm not a fan of that because I think it's at the same time too dry and too wet. Doesn't work for me. I don't say that Chris Alge don't know what he's doing. I think the guy's got the record. I like his work. The guys know what he's doing. But to me, not going with my style. Not going with what I'm after. Learn to use the tool that you have and find the sweet spot for your room if you are in the same room, or find your sweet spot for your band, or find the sweet spot for the style that you want to have. I think that will be the best scenario. You need to learn how to play around with reverb, and don't be afraid to take some time. This is what I did when I was younger. I started to... This is funny because I had that conversation this week with some friend. I started to mix band when I was 16. I had absolutely no clue what I was doing. Almost didn't speak English. We didn't have YouTube back then to teach me stuff. And I used to start mixing with an old Yamaha PM700 console. One with the wood side panel. Like this, but it was the side panel. This thing was about as big as the wing, but it was a 12 channel with no EQ. You had low, mid, and high. And a gain. But it was a notch gain, a stepped gain instead of soft gain. Somebody gave me that with a pair of loudspeaker. And after a while, I was like, hey, I need some effects. So I found a SPX 90 on local ads on Craigslist, or equivalents of Craigslist back in the day. Bought that, didn't know how to use it, play around with it, play around with it. I was young, had time to do it. I was a high school dropout at that point, so I had a lot of time to spare and to play video games. But my favorite video games to play was play around with the SPX, play guitar into it, play vocal, send my vocal microphone. I had a cheap mic with a 1/4 inch adapter that I could send to guitar pedal, because once I got into effect, I bought some effect for my guitar, bought a flanger, sent some vocal into a flanger and chorus, and thought it was the coolest stuff in the world. Play around with that and learn my way through effect into that. I had the best parents in the world who let me blast them with weird sound coming from the basement. And I was like, when I say that I had big speaker, I'm talking about Altec A7, for those of you who knows, with probably a 1,000 watt amplifier. Those were arena, skating arena PAs. So it was something like a 15-inch or 12-inch into a port box. This thing was like 1 meter wide by 2 high. And you need to put a horn on top of that, because the original box had 2 1-inch tweeter, but it was not enough high frequencies. So I had to put a 24-inch horn on top of that. It was like a square box, 24 by 24. Put that, and it was coming out of the crossover in the back of the box to power that up. And together it made a PA. I had that in my basement, and I blasted. Like, I'm talking about clipping everything with music effect and stuff like that. My neighbors probably hear me at night doing that. And my parents turned the sound of the TV up to just go over it. Chris, your first PA was 4A7. Yeah, I had a pair of those in my basement when I was 16. This is where I started. So, all that to say about reverb, there's no magic trick. Just go subtle and play around with the setting and trial and error. It's depending on the PA, the result that you want to have, and the position. Like I was saying a couple minutes ago, go walk around in your room and don't mix for where you stand behind your console. Mix for the overall room. Meaning, go walk around. If you are, if it's really bright where the console is, or if it's really muffled where the console is, and it's really bright everywhere else in the room, mix for the most people. Don't mix for yourself, and try to learn how to achieve result. Do a mix. Go walk around. This is what I do all the time in shows. Even when I go out with the wing and I don't have an iPad, I just go for a walk. Start your mix. Once everything is going, walk around. You'll be amazed how different, or sometimes better, your mix is sounding when you walk around. Most of the time, just having that just let it go for a minute, and being in the crowd and not being behind the console and listening to every detail, and be on the radar for everything. Just drop it for a second. Go take a walk. People are gonna go like, "What? Why aren't you behind the console?" Let them go. Do your stuff. Go for a walk. Listen. Do an average. Go listen on average where it sound, and come back to your console. Fix it. Go for a walk. If you have an iPad, just go walk around with an iPad. This is what I do in the summer when I'm doing the small, small Escalade rock show. I just walk around and find the sweet spot, find the average for everybody. And I try to set myself, when I have an iPad, into the sweet spot too, so I can, mix for real, not averaging and fixing, but that's the way to go. This is what I try to do. Okay, enough of me rambling. Let's take some question. You can't really enjoy a show being a sound guy. Yes, actually you can, but it has to be really good. Or, yeah, I remember in 2005 in Montreal seeing System of a Down, one of my favorite band. Well, actually, like that's one of my favorite band. And it sounded like the record, but it sounded live. And I was so close to the stage with a front field right in front of me. But it was the perfect balance. You know, the PA Tech that they did a great job. And even elsewhere in the arena, I had some friends who were there, you know, were people that I've met a couple of years after the fact. And they remember that show sounding amazing. Probably one of the best one they heard in that arena. Everything was so much in your face. I don't know who did it. I don't know what they were using, but man, it sounded good. It sounded like the record. See my favorite band, front row, in front of my idol, Darren Malikan, the guitar player. Hear everything, and sounded good. This is one of the best show of my life. And I didn't think about, actually, I remember thinking, oh my God, it sounds the way it should. And I flipped the switch. I can't enjoy a show. But it's hard. For Herman, I was debating between the UI24R X32 being more powerful, but the Soundcraft is easier to use. I didn't play around with the Soundcraft. If you want to go in the PreSonus territory, the Soundcraft territory, probably they are easier to use. I don't know what are the options, but at that point, it's debating between feature and ease of use, right? Can an old, because for the budget, can you go like an old PreSonus Studio? Studio Live? Is it the Studio Live 16? I know when you are a sound engineer and you want to start to play around with compressor and EQ, they are a nightmare to use. They're not user friendly. But it's the kind of console that once you set up, you just raise the fader, press, you know. Could that be an option, or that will be still too complex? Or do you want to go only iPad? With I think the UI24R is only iPad. If you want to go only iPad, my recommendation will still be the MR18, the MR18, the Midas 18 input. Interesting. Jonathan Lang, what's up? Yo. How you doing, sir? Good to have you back. To be back on the reverb subject, subtle reverb with pre-delay and low cut. Yeah, that's the way to go. Just go subtle. Just go smooth, raise it up. You can hear it at the console. Maybe leave it there. Go take a walk around. It's probably gonna work. Great tip on the pre-delay. I usually don't mess with it, and I'll try it. Lower setting. Yeah. Okay. Actually, we can take some time and do it. I have that on bus 15. I can probably send that into the main out, and send my voice into it, not into the delay where I was. I can probably turn that in. I now sound like I'm in a church. And now I left it at 132 millisecond. Try to listen with me. You can hear my voice and you can hear the reverb coming a long time after. I'm gonna go to 200 millisecond. And I'm gonna take a really short reverb. It sounds almost like a delay, because it's taking a lot of time to, the unit, the effect unit is holding on my voice and send it back. It's holding on it for 200 milliseconds. and send it back. Okay, let's go crazy here. Size 100. You can hear it's a real big room. DK for like 2 seconds. That's my sweet spot. That's where I like it. And I'm gonna slowly turn down the pre-delay. There you go. 100 millisecond. 50 millisecond. Already I sound like there's less delay in the reverb. There's less pre-delay. Let's go to 25. 25 millisecond. This is like 25 feet, 7 meter in time in the real world. And if I go all the way to 0, I just speak directly into the reverb. And for those of you who want to know how Iron Maiden did it on the Number of the Beast album, I don't know how many of you here are Iron Maiden fan, but it sounds something like, oh, it really brings me back to that feeling with the 0 pre-delay to 2 seconds. I don't know, personal stuff that I heard before. Let's go with the size. Actually, I can show you also what the size is doing. The size is going to be the size of the room and not the pre-delay. I can literally be in a bat room. That's going to sound like a really tight room. Halfway there. You know, it feels like a bigger room. And that feel almost like a hangar. A good, like a huge place. But that's smaller. And the smaller the decay, the more it's going to sound like a bat room. Because it's the length of the reverb. In nature, reverb is totally a natural effect. It happens with sound reflecting from the wall. If you are in a really tight space, it's going to sound like this. It's going to sound like you are in an empty room, a bat room, really, reflecting. I'm going to take the damping out. It's going to bring out all the I frequencies. And when it's bouncing around. Let's go for something that is unnatural, but we're going to hear the sound of the sound of the room size effect, how it impacts the sound. If we go 100 all the way down to 50, it sounds a little bit different. All the way to 2, it's just it dies a little faster. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but you probably play around with it, make it sound good. And okay, if you want to sound like a big room, set your decay to be higher and just go like this. That was a 5 seconds delay. And like I was talking with Chris, you guys can see my fader here. I'm using the post fader for this reason. If I put down my reverb bus or I just raise it, it acts like a wet dry effect on me. I can control the amount of volume that I'm sending into the reverb. That allow me, I don't know how well you can see that, but that allow me to mute my effects bus that I usually do with a mute group. Have my band speak in between song, just unmute my mute group and talk into the reverb. And just mute it back once I'm done. Maybe 5 seconds is a bit much. Let's be honest here. Let's go back to 2 millisecond. Pre-delay can help you just give some space. You know, it's going to add depth to your reverb. But I'm a really short pre-delay guy, if you want my opinion on that. Feel free to make it your own. Other than my silly reverb talk, anything else that you guys want to talk about? The floor is yours. You are the next contendant on Wing Live Tips. Should I call it Wing Live? I never gave this series a name. I tried to call it Live Monday or Wing Live something. I just call it the live stream. Monday live stream. We've been going at this for almost 2 years now. I need to count, but I think we're close to 100 live stream. I don't know what I'm going to do for 100 live stream. Maybe I should do a 100-minute live stream that I already do most of the time, but who knows? Maybe I can do a special. Or 250. We'll see what's happening with that. As usual, I'm going to say, if you guys want to talk about something, let's do it now. If not, I'm just going to call it a night, or actually a day. Probably gonna finish my coffee and go back to bed. Feeling tired, and I need to do some, the bad stuff of the industry. I need to do some billing and send invoice to client for the work that I did last week. Not that I don't want their money, it's just the part that I don't like. I wish I could just, punch in, punch out this job. But apparently not. I'm a freelance sound engineer. I need to build people, but my time to get paid. So, no question, nobody, no nothing. If you are live with me, first I will ask you to like this video. It helps the algorithm to send it to other people that may have the same interests as you. So if you are interested in the wing, in live sound, in common sound, practice and use, like this video, share it with a friend, share it with somebody who might need to hear what I need to say about the reverb. So my goal here is to help people and help you get better result with your overall mix with the wing, with other console. If I have the knowledge, if I know something that I can tell you about, give you my opinion on it, and it's going to help you make your own opinion on it. This is how you build mixing skill. You take something that you like, that you hear, or a trick that you like, you apply it to your stuff, you make it your own, and you say people, oh, okay, I tried something, I like that, but it's not, it doesn't do it, the way he's doing it doesn't work for me, so I did it that way. Who knows? That may be helpful. No other questions, so that will be time for me to wrap up. Guys, thank you very much for being here with you. I want to say a special thanks to the member who show up. Herman, thank you very much. My friend Guillaume. Yes, we share both the same name. It's really confusing when we work together. Merci, mon ami, d'être là. To everyone else, I would say, hey, glad you've been here with us. Until the next one, please take care of yourself, and I see you guys next week or later when I'm doing another video on the wing. I'm sorry, guys, and it just flashed me back that I need to do video on the console. Well, actually, you have some time off this week. Instead of resting, I will work for you. Now, for real, until the next one, please take care of yourself, and I see you all later. Excuse me.